What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lure Painting with Zach Baker. I'm Zach Baker, and today we're doing kind of an experiment. I haven't actually painted this yet, but I got this glide bait from Barlow's Tackle. It's almost 6 inches long. As you can see, there's a hole that passes through the mouth out through the side of the gill plate. So that's going to come into play later whenever we go to do our paint job. As always, if you guys want to pick up one of these blanks for yourself, I'll have it linked in the description below. You can get them from Barlow's Tackle. Let's not waste any more time. We'll go ahead and jump into painting this bait. Okay, so we're going to start off with a base coat of white. Even though most of the blank is already white, the head is clear, and we're going to be doing like a pretty light colored shad pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and give the whole thing a nice base coat in an opaque white. And then I'm going to hit this with the hairdryer, and we'll do another light coat real quick.
You have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you are.
And I think I forgot to mention this, but if you guys have a blank like this where the joint is almost like a fabric-like material, I have another video showing how I protect those. To sum it up, I'm just using rubber bands to protect the joints on the inside. That way you can paint over them in your clear coat, and then you can cut the rubber bands out later, leaving the joint nice. But again, I've got another video, and I can link it below if you want to check that one out. We got the base coat of white done. Next, we're going to move on to a pearl silver. So we're going to cover the entire bait, but down here towards the belly, I want that to stay white. So right about in this area, we're going to start fading that silver into the white and leaving the bottom solid white. Okay, we're going to do the hair dryer and then do another coat. I am going to go ahead and hit the bottom of the tail and make sure that that's silver, but kind of fading it into the white on the belly right in there. We're going to be putting on a stencil pattern next, so I want to make sure that the paint is completely dry before doing that. So I'm going to hit it really good with the hairdryer, and then we're going to be putting on the stencil, which is this guy right here. Nice wide circles. Okay. Got the stencil pattern on, and so this pattern that we're doing is kind of a little bit of an experiment. I haven't actually done it yet. What I'm going for is a really simple paint job, very subtle shad pattern. So I want that silver to show through, but I don't want the rest of the bait to be silver. So what we're going to do now is go back to our opaque white, cover back up that silver with the stencil pattern on, and we'll use a couple other colors to kind of dust over it before moving on to the final step. So I've got the opaque white, and I'm going to go back over the whole bait again. And it is important whenever you have stencils on like this that you don't spray your paint too heavy, because it can still seep up underneath of your stencil pattern. So I'm going to hit this with a hairdryer, and then we will do another quick coat and then move on to our next color. Okay, so to give a little bit more life to this bait, what I'm going to do is go ahead and hit it real quick with a nice pearlized white right over top of that opaque white. That way we can get a nice sparkle once the clear coat goes on.
And nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is I've got two different colors here. They're actually acrylic paints. We got a color shift blue and then an Enchanted Gold. It's like a color shift color as well. So I've got both of these, and I have them in these little tubes that I thinned out with some water. All I'm wanting to do with these is just give a real light coat, like almost what I call it dusting it. So we're going to basically dust it. So I don't want any of the bait to turn that solid color. I just want it to have a little bit of that sparkle in it, so when the bait moves in the light, it reflects those different colors. So I'm going to start off with the Enchanted Gold, and this might be difficult for you guys to see it on camera. But once the clear coat goes on, we get those close-up shots later, hopefully you'll be able to tell. I am going to do this a little bit heavier up here on the gill plate. All right, and we're going to do the same thing with that blue. I'm going to really be cautious with the blue because it's a very strong color. So I'm probably not going to do a whole lot. I think I'm going to kind of keep the blue up here on the right around the eye, because we're going to come back in with some black later. But for right now, we're just going to do it right here around the eye. It's the only spot that I want to be more noticeable. All right, I think we're going to stop there. It's one of those less is more type of situations. So I'm going to clean out the airbrush, hit this with the hairdryer, and then we're going to take it out of the stencil. So there you can kind of see, a little bit difficult still, but you got that silver behind it and then the white and our other pretty colors on top. It'll stand out a little bit more once the clear coat goes on, but there you can see it a little bit better than we could earlier. I'm gonna put it back on the stand. So at the moment, we still have a pretty boring looking fishing lure, but I promise you, it'll look interesting. Something's gonna happen here shortly, whether it be good or bad, I don't know. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is take some transparent black. We're gonna put the shad dots on both sides. I'm gonna go for right here in the center on the first segment from the head. So dead center on both sides the best that I can. Then we're going to use the black, lightly dust the back of it. I think I'm going to darken up the tail just a little bit, and then try to hit the two bottom fins a little bit as well, along with around the eyes like I always do. So let's get that done and we'll move on to the more exciting part. I think what I'm going to try to do is go for a light black. I'm not going to try to make it solid black. Okay, I'm changing my mind just a little bit. Don't be mad at me. I think we're going to try to go for the very ridge. I'm really liking the way that's looking. Just super subtle, super light colors. I think we're going to try to make the center of it just a little bit darker, but leaving the sides how they are. If I mess this up, please don't be mad at me. Okay, then we're going to try to hit those bottom dorsal fins. Okay, now we're going to go for the shad dot right there on the side. I think those are pretty close. The one on this side might be slightly taller than that one, but hey, that's all right. I'm gonna go just a little darker. I'm really trying to keep it light, but I want to go darker. Okay, we're going to stop right there before I end up going too dark with this. What I ended up doing was kind of the very tips of the fins, making those black and fading it in. Same thing on the tail, and I think that gets more what I'm going for here. So now I'm going to clean out the airbrush because we are officially done with it, and then we're going to come back and make a mess. I'm guessing. I don't know exactly. We'll find out together. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do this next part, but when I was cleaning out my brush and looking at the bait, we might come back and put like a little bit of a stencil over top this section of the gill plate to darken up that second piece. I don't know if that'll be necessary, but in case you see me spraying more paint, like I said I wasn't going to, I think that might look nice, but we're going to do the next part first. So this next part, I think I'm actually gonna have to move the camera so you guys can get a better view of it. But as I had mentioned at the very beginning of the video, the mouth of this fishing lure comes all the way through and comes out on the side of the gill plate right there. I don't know if you can see that poking through there. So my idea is to take this blood red color And I was going to use the airbrush, but I think instead a safer bet would be a little eyedropper thing. And what I'm going to do is mix up some of that paint and just drop it right in the mouth and let it run out of the bottom of the gill plate. So I have to hold the bait like this, and I'm just going to kind of let the paint do its thing. I'm not going to have a lot of control over it, which I think might make it more fun. But we're going to dump paint right into the mouth and let it run out down the side and do whatever it wants to do. That way the lure looks like it's bleeding from the gill plate and just running down the side. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more dramatized than what a natural fish would look like bleeding like that. But I think it would look cool and it would sell to us fishermen and us bait makers. So on the Candy 2.0 paint, it says that you want to mix it with, it's like a balancing 430 or 40-30, excuse me, a balancing clear. So what I'm going to do is grab one of my little cups here. I'm going to pour a little bit of both in there. I think it's just like a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm not doing extreme. I'm not going to go super precise with it, but we do want some of that balancing in there to help the paint. I'm going to use my little toothpick here, and I think this is the most true blood red color that you can get. Absolutely love this color. If you don't have it in your arsenal of paints, I recommend getting it. Again, it's the Candy 2.0 blood red, and it is very accurate on that color. All right, let me see how to move the camera here in the fishing lure so that way you all can see it better. All right, so I think you should be able to see it okay just like that. I'm a little nervous for this, but we're going to see what happens here. Got my little eyedropper. And then we're gonna go right here to the mouth. Nothing's coming out yet. Coming out. Oh yeah, look at that. Coming out the other side. That looks pretty good, I think. All right, let's see if we can get it to come out this side. Oh, right as I move the bait. So it's coming through on the other side and then running across there. Whew, we're making a mess. All right. Need a little bit more paint. We need it to come out of those gills. There we go. Oh yeah, we're making a mess. I'm digging it though, I think. I think what I'm going to do, because I don't want more thick pinks. It's kind of catching. Kind of building up right in there and then running down, and I don't really want those areas like that. So I think I'm going to try and take a paintbrush and see if we can push it up in there a little bit. Oh, I think it's made a huge mess. So not exactly how I was thinking it was going to go. But you know what? I think we're okay. Maybe trying to think of how we can clean it up a little bit more and make it look a little better. So I like the red, but I don't like the way it was catching up here and then running down. But it's not bad though. It's not horrible. I think what we might do is maybe do a little bit of splatter or something like that. Or I wonder if I can take... See, I'm experimenting with this so you guys don't have to. I'm going to take a little bit more. I wonder what happens if I just kind of put it right there. Let's look at that on the other side. I also kind of want these little bubbles to thin out. I'm thinking we're going to do Zach's all-time favorite, do a little bit of this and some splatter. I think might kind of help it. Oh, just dip my finger in it. See? It looks like blood. Okay, I'm going to put the camera back up before we do splatter because I don't want any of that paint on the lens of the camera, and we'll see what we can do with this. Didn't quite go like I was thinking, but I think it's going to be okay. I'll let you guys decide. All right, I'm going to keep playing with this. Kind of pushing that what's running back up on there. Keep it that nice deep red. See if I can get some of this in the mouth too, a little bit better. So I definitely think the paintbrush is the way to go rather than the eyedropper. Because I think, you guys can tell me, I think that looks a little bit better. You guys can tell me, but I think that looks a little bit better than that side. But hey, that's the whole part of experimenting. Okay, I think we're gonna finish her off with a bang here. Do some splatter, might as well. Kind of keeping it towards the bottom there. Let's hairdryer and pick out some eyes. So I don't really have a whole lot of eyes that fit that size, but I do have these yellow ones, which I think might look a little too bold. I would rather some like silver, but I don't have any. Ooh, what about these? Those are a little bit more subtle. What do you guys think? I kind of like that over the yellow. They're still not... Oh, those are about the right size. Also got these red ones, but I think I want the red. Well, that don't look bad though. Decisions. I think we're gonna go with those, with these guys. Yeah, that's the ones we're gonna go with. And those eyes kind of change colors too. It's got a little bit of the yellow and green blue colors in it. So I think that might work out a-okay. Okay, let's do the other side real quick. All right, there we have it. Big mess on this side. Looks a little bit cleaner on that side. So you guys let me know if we should do another one of these, but do it where we have a little bit more control. Kind of make it look like a fish that's had a really rough life. I am still considering going back in right there and darkening that. Maybe, or should we just add some more red? Maybe we'll just add... No, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. We'll save it for a different video. If you guys want to see another one of these where we actually have a little bit more control over it and don't end up with something like that, let me know, because I got some more blanks, and I think it is kind of fun to make a zombie-looking dying fish. I definitely do like this side more. So let me know if you want to do another one of these where we have more control, and if you would darken that gill plate just a little bit more right there or not. So I'm going to let this dry very, very good. I will get it clear coated. We will come back and take a look at what she looks like all finished up.